Hello students of class 10th. Today we are going to discuss on the control and coordination in plants. Control and coordination in plants. Students, control and coordination in plants. In previous lecture, we were studying about how the internal factor helps in control and coordination of the various kind of processes. It means the process of growth in plants is enhanced by the phytohormones. The phytohormones are internal factors that are necessary for the inducing the growth and development in plants. Now students, here we are going to discuss about the control and coordination in plants and what types of such control and coordinations are required for the growth and development in plants. Students, you all of you very well know that the plants are also sensitive to the environment and their environmental conditions like light, temperature, humidity, moisture, and the geographical area where they are found. It means the kinds of geographical areas, such as either they are plains or arid regions, or the hilly or mountainous regions, as well as the rain shed regions or heavy rainfall regions. Like the conditions, the control and coordination in plants is mainly concerned by the internal factor, that is the phytohormones, or you can say plant hormone, and the external factors are also responsible. Now today we are going to discuss about the growth in plants and how their control and coordination is done by the various factor of the external as well as internal factors. Now students, there is two types of growth is found in plants. The first one is movement and the second one is flowering. Movement and flowering. Now students, first I am going to discuss about movement. The students, the plants cannot perform the process of locomotion. It means they have not ability to move from one place to another place, but they perform the process of movement by increasing, or you can say that, growth in their root and shoot system. Yes students, in their root and shoot system they perform the process of movement. With the action of heat, light, blowing winds are also responsible for the movement in plants. The growth in the primary part of the plants with the help of meristematic tissues is also regarded as the movements in plants. Students, there are two main factors which are responsible for the movement in plants. The first one is the internal factor. Internal factor. if we are going to talking about the internal factors that is responsible for the growth or movement in plants, then these are the phytohormones. About phytohormones and their kinds, all of you studied in the previous lecture. There are 5 types of phyto or plant hormones. What are these? The auxin, gibberellin and cytokinins are the growth inducing hormones, and 2 are the growth inhibiting hormones, that are abscisic acid and ethylene. Thus students, the internal factors that controls and coordinate the growth in plants is phytohormones, as all of you studied in previous lecture. Now here today we are going to discuss about the external factors. External factors. Then students, there are 2 types of external factors which are received as stimuli from the atmosphere. What are these? The first one is phototropism. What students? Phototropism. And the another one is Nastich movement. Nastich movement. Students, phototropism. As this term is clear that photo means light. Light means sunlight. And tropism means the movement. Thus students, it is the kind of movement that is performed by the presence of sunlight. And if we are talking about such type of movements, then it may be unidirectional or in a certain direction. The growth in plants in a certain direction. Here I am going to take an example. Students, if a potted plant is kept in a dark room in which there is no presence of ventilation for 2 to 3 days, now a beam of light or sunlight is passing into the room on the potted plant where it is kept. Then after a week you will find the stem of the potted plant get bent down towards the incoming sunlight. Yes students, towards the incoming sunlight, this type of movement is called phototropism. It means it is the kind of movement in plants in the direction of sunlight due to obtaining the sunlight for the performing an important process of photosynthesis. Thus, there is stimulus in the form of sunlight, and the movement of bending of the stem of the plants towards the direction of the sunlight is known as phototropism. Another types of this type of movements is geotropism, or it is also called gravitotropism. Geotropism, this is also called gravitotropism due to gravity of the earth. Gravitotropism. Students, what is geotropism? The geo means soil. What students? The soil that are present on the uppermost surface of the earth. And the term gravito is taken from the gravity of the earth. It means toward the earth's surface. Now students, geotropism. It is the kind of movements in plants either in the direction of the soil or the development of the plants in the aerial direction. It means in the atmospheric direction. Students, now the geotropism can be easily understood with the example of a germinating seed. Yes students, it can be easily understood with the example of a germinating seed. This is the leguminous seed of a gram, and when the process of germination will start, there is development of two types of structure. The first one is plumule and the second one is radicule. What function performed by the plumule and radicule? Students, the plumule helps in development of the shoot system of this plant, and the radicule is responsible for the development of the root system of the plant. Thus students, the radicule may be defined as the movement of plants as positive geotropism. Positively geotropism. Yes students, the movements and developments of the radicule part, because this phenomena takes place inside the soil, it means under the soil. That's why this is called positively geotropic. Whereas the development of the plumules, it means shoot system, is known as the negatively geotropic. Yes students, this is the negatively geotropic. Here I use the symbol positive and here I use the symbol negative. Negatively geotropism, and it could be write as positively geotropism. Thus students, one thing more to understand that how this is negatively geotropism and how this is positively geotropism. This kind of development and growth take place upon the surface of the soil, whereas this take place inside the soil surface. That's why this is positively geotropism and this is negatively geotropism. Likewise, if we are also going to define the phototropism, then we will find the aerial part in the shoot system, which are developed by the plumules, is positively geotropic, whereas the development of radicule, it means root parts of the plants, is negatively phototropic. Now students, the another is chemotropy. Students, what is chemotropy? As it clear that it is related to the chemical. This type of movements due to the secretion or formation of chemical substances in the various part of the plant's body. Students, you can easily justify the chemotropism with the example that when the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a flower, then the pollen tubes are developed from the anther, that is in the direction of the ovules present inside the ovary. Why the pollen tube in pollen grains is directed toward the ovules? There is a reason. With the secretion of a chemical substance that provides the favorable condition for the elongation of the pollen tubes towards the ovules. This is an example of the chemotropis movement. Yes, students, this is an example of chemotropis movement. It could be possible with the secretion of that kind of chemical substance. Now, students, after that, we are going to discuss about the flowering. This is a very short topic, and this topic also completes your chapter. Flowering. Students, flowering is very common. The kind of functioning phanerogamous types of plants. This is also a kind of the growth. On this basis, the process of flowering is considered to be the plants into two groups. What are these? The first one is short flowering plants or short day flowering plants. Short day flowering plants, and another one is the long day flowering plants. What are short day flowering plants? Students, the kinds of plants which takes about 4 to 6 hours in the development of a flower from the bud. This type of plants are considered to be short day flowering plants. If we are going to take example, then the Mirabilis jalapa, it means 4 o'clock plant, is the best example of short day flowering plants. Likewise, students, if you are going to discuss about the long day flowering plants, then the long day flowering plants are the kind of plants that takes about 14 to 16 hours for the development of flower from a bud. Such type of plants are jasmine, bela, rose, hibiscus. These are known as long day flowering plants. Students, one thing is more. The absorption of sunlight that is required for the flowering plants is due to a kind of pigment that is called phytochrome. Phytochrome. This is a pigment that helps in absorption of light, and this helps in the opening and closing of the petals, and such type of opening and closing of petals is also called nastic movement. And vernalization. One thing is vernalization. Students, what is vernalization? It is a phenomena in which at low temperature some of the plant species bears flowers. Such type of plants are regarded as winter flowering plants or winter season plants, and this phenomena is known as vernalization. As for example, the most of the flowering plants are bears flower, more number of flower during the winter season. This phenomena is known as vernalization. And the student, nastic movement. Nastic movements may be enhanced, or you can say that stimulated by the temperature. If the temperature is low, then the process of opening of the petals like in sunflower is take place during the daytime, whereas if there is raising or increasing or decreasing in temperature during the day or any time, such type of opening and closing of the petals is found in the oxalis. This type of opening and closing of the nesting movement is known as photonasty or thermonasty. Thus, thermonasty take place in oxalis, whereas photonasty take place in sunflower. Thus, students, this chapter will be completed, and I hope you all of you enjoy this chapter very well. Also gather more of the knowledge about the control and coordination in plants and animals. And one thing more important, you have to complete your notes regularly. Thanks students for joining today's lecture.